In the cold waters of the North Pacific, an orca family moves through a landscape with no roads, no signs, and no permanent landmarks visible above the waves. The youngest calf swims close to its mother. Adult males rise beside their sisters. Several generations travel together, following a route that may lead them through narrow channels, around rocky islands, and toward feeding grounds hidden beyond the horizon. At the front of the group is not the largest male, nor the fastest hunter, nor the youngest and strongest animal. It is often an old female, a mother or grandmother, whose body carries the marks of decades spent surviving in the ocean. She may no longer produce calves of her own, yet her value to the family has not disappeared. In many ways, it has become greater. She remembers where food can be found when familiar hunting grounds fail. She recognizes routes traveled many years earlier. She understands the movements of prey, the dangers of changing tides, and the behavior of neighboring groups. Her family follows because she carries something more powerful than physical strength. She carries knowledge. Orca society is built around the maternal line. In several well-studied resident populations, sons and daughters remain closely connected to their mothers throughout their lives. A male may grow into an enormous animal, with a dorsal fin rising nearly 2 meters above the water. Yet he may continue traveling beside the female who raised him. Daughters may remain close as they produce calves of their own, forming families containing mothers, children, grandchildren, brothers, sisters, aunts, and uncles. At the center of this social world stands the matriarch. She is not a ruler in the human sense. She does not command through violence or control the family through constant displays of dominance. Her authority emerges from experience. When she changes direction, others may follow. When she locates prey, the family benefits. When conditions become difficult, her decisions can determine who survives. For an animal living in an environment as vast and unpredictable as the ocean, memory is a form of leadership. The sea is never truly stable. Salmon runs may be abundant one year and weak the next. Currents shift with the seasons. Storms alter coastlines and scatter prey. Fishing pressure, pollution, vessel traffic, and warming water can transform feeding grounds that supported orcas for generations. A young whale may know only the conditions it has recently experienced. An old female has lived through cycles of abundance and scarcity. She may remember what her family did the last time salmon disappeared from a familiar region. She may know of another channel, river mouth, or deep water passage where fish gathered decades earlier. That knowledge may remain unused for years. But when the ocean changes, it becomes essential. Studies of resident orcas have found that older, post-reproductive females are especially likely to lead group movement during years when salmon are scarce, when food is easy to find. Almost any experienced adult may help guide the family. But when prey becomes difficult to locate, the group increasingly depends on its oldest females. Their memories act like maps drawn across an entire lifetime. No one can see these maps, yet the family moves according to them. A turn through a narrow channel may appear meaningless to a human observer. To the matriarch, it may be the beginning of a route she last followed during a period of hunger many years before. Her family does not need to rediscover the solution through dangerous trial and error. It inherits the answer by following her. This is one reason female orcas are so unusual among mammals. In several orca populations, females can live for decades after they stop reproducing. Menopause and a long post-reproductive life are extremely rare in nature. From a simple evolutionary perspective, this seems puzzling. If an animal is no longer producing offspring, why would natural selection favor a body capable of surviving for many additional years? Orcas provide a powerful answer. An older female can continue helping her genetic family even after she stops giving birth. Instead of investing energy in another calf of her own, she can support her existing children and grandchildren. She can lead them toward food, share prey, protect vulnerable relatives, and preserve knowledge that younger animals have not yet had time to acquire. Her reproductive years may have ended, but her contribution to the survival of her family continues. The grandmother does not need to produce another calf for her genes to benefit. By helping her descendants survive, she supports the continuation of the family line. This effect becomes especially important during hard times. Researchers studying resident orcas found that the presence of a grandmother can improve the survival chances of her grandchildren, with post-reproductive grandmothers providing particularly valuable support. A calf does not depend only on its mother. It is surrounded by an extended family whose oldest members may possess the greatest ecological knowledge. The grandmother may help the group locate food when prey is scarce. She may share captured salmon with younger relatives. She may guide inexperienced mothers and remain close to calves during difficult journeys. Her assistance can spread across multiple generations at once. One successful decision may feed her adult son, her daughter, and several grandchildren. In this way, the knowledge of one whale can influence the survival of an entire family. Food sharing is especially important in resident orca society. Catching a salmon does not always mean consuming it immediately and alone. Whales may divide prey and share pieces with relatives. Adult females are often central to this process, providing food to calves and sometimes to adult sons. A fully grown male may be far larger than his mother, yet he can still benefit from her hunting success and social support. His size requires enormous amounts of energy. While his large body may make certain movements less efficient than those of smaller females, the mother's experience, agility, and willingness to share can therefore remain important long after her son reaches adulthood. Their bond is not temporary. It may continue for as long as she lives. Older mothers may also protect their sons in ways that are not immediately visible. Research has found that adult males whose post-reproductive mothers are present show fewer toothache injuries caused by other orcas. These injuries are marks left when one whale drags its teeth across another whale's skin during aggressive social encounters. The finding suggests that an older mother may help her son avoid conflict, perhaps by intervening, guiding social interactions, or using her relationships within the community. She does not need to defeat a larger whale physically. Her social knowledge may be enough to reduce danger. She knows the families around her. She has spent decades building relationships and learning how other whales behave. Her presence changes the social environment surrounding her offspring. Leadership among orcas is therefore not based on only one skill. A matriarch may be a navigator, a provider, a mediator, a teacher, and a keeper of family identity. She remembers not only where the family has traveled, but also whom it has encountered. She recognizes the calls of neighboring pods and understands the relationships connecting different groups. Orca communities can gather, separate, and reunite over long periods. An old female may have known certain whales since they were calves. She may remember alliances, conflicts, and social patterns that younger animals are only beginning to understand. In a society where cooperation matters, this knowledge can be as valuable as information about prey. The matriarch is a living archive of the ocean and of the community inhabiting it. Her lessons are rarely delivered through anything resembling a formal classroom. Young whales learn by remaining close, watching movements, listening to calls, and participating in daily life. A calf sees which routes the grandmother chooses. It observes how she handles a salmon, how she responds to another pod, and when she decides to leave an area. Repeated experiences slowly become knowledge. The calf may not understand why the family turns north on a particular morning, but years later, when faced with similar conditions, it may remember the route. Leadership becomes education simply because younger animals are present. Every journey is a lesson, every hunt a demonstration, and every decision part of a tradition that may be passed forward. The transfer of knowledge can continue across decades. A grandmother leads her daughter through a difficult winter. The daughter survives, raises a calf, and later follows the same route when prey becomes scarce again. The original grandmother may no longer be alive, but her decision remains within the behavior of the family. In this way, orcas possess a kind of history without writing. Their knowledge is stored in memory and revealed through action. The ocean erases physical tracks almost immediately. A whale passes through the water, and the path closes behind it. Yet the route can survive inside the minds of those who followed. The matriarch's map is copied not onto paper, but into the memory of her descendants. This makes the death of an old female especially significant. Every death matters in a small or endangered population, but the loss of a matriarch can create consequences extending far beyond the disappearance of one individual. The family may lose decades of knowledge in a single moment. A younger whale can inherit calls, hunting techniques, and familiar routes, but it cannot automatically inherit every memory. Rare feeding grounds visited only during extreme shortages may be forgotten. Knowledge of unusual weather patterns, distant migration routes, or past dangers may disappear before younger animals have experienced them. The loss resembles the destruction of a library whose most important books were never copied. The family remains alive, but part of its history is gone. For conservationists, this means that protecting orcas cannot be reduced to maintaining a certain number of animals. Individuals are not interchangeable. A calf, an adult male, a reproductive female, and a post-reproductive grandmother each occupy different positions within the social system. Losing an elder may remove knowledge that the population needs to survive future environmental changes. This is especially dangerous when food supplies are unstable. If salmon populations decline, families may depend more heavily on old females who remember alternative feeding locations. At the exact moment their knowledge becomes most valuable. Malnutrition and environmental stress may also make them more vulnerable. A population can therefore enter a dangerous cycle. Prey becomes scarce. Experienced females die. Their knowledge disappears, and the remaining whales become less capable of finding enough food. The effects of losing a matriarch may continue long after her final breath. Yet the role of old females also reveals the extraordinary strength of orca society. These animals have evolved a system in which age does not automatically mean declining importance. In many species, An individual's evolutionary value is measured primarily by its ability to reproduce. Among orcas, a female can enter a new stage of influence after her reproductive years end. Her body may become slower and carry more scars, but her memory grows richer. Every successful hunt, failed journey, dangerous encounter, and season of hunger adds information that may later protect her family. Time transforms her into something the younger whales cannot yet become. She is the memory of conditions that no longer exist and the guide to conditions that may return. Imagine an old female moving through a fog-covered channel. Her breathing is slow and familiar. Behind her swims an adult son many times heavier than the calf she once nursed. Beside him is her daughter, followed by grandchildren still learning the boundaries of their world. The matriarch turns toward a distant passage. The younger whales follow. They cannot see what lies beyond the islands. Perhaps there is no guarantee that food will be waiting, but the old female has traveled this route before. Somewhere within her memory is a season when the usual salmon grounds were empty, and this distant passage offered the family another chance. The decision she makes now is connected to an experience that happened before some of the whales behind her were born. The past is leading the present through the water. This is the true power of an orca matriarch. She does not rule through fear. She leads through memory. She does not protect her family only with teeth and strength, but with knowledge accumulated across a lifetime. She links generations. Its descendant reduces conflict, preserves traditions, and guides her relatives through an ocean that is constantly changing. When food disappears and uncertainty spreads, the largest whale may not possess the answer. The oldest female may, and as her family follows her into the distance, they reveal one of nature's most profound truths. Survival does not always belong to the strongest individual. Sometimes it belongs to those wise enough to remember, and to the families wise enough to follow.